Jab Tak Hai Jaan, in a sense, is no different to a typical love story. It's just one that's told straight, but still somehow in reverse. We had the first half of the film where Summer and Meera fall in love, only to face separation for an extended period of time in which Summer goes back to India and joins the army, while Meera stays alone like a widow would. And here is where Summer begins to fall in love with the young Akira. But we don't know all of this when we're watching the film in the beginning hour. We don't know anything. For that matter, she could very well be dead. All we know is that here is an army man. This is the diary of his past, and there was once a time where he was beginning to fall for a girl. The same kind of retrospect that a film like Ghajini offers. But here it makes for more of a twist because everything we know about Meera is actually through the lens of Summer. He remembers her so fondly despite the fact that she threw him out of his life. This is the love Summer has for her. But whatever happened in between the time of their separation and Summer ending up where he is? The audience thinks that this is something the film is leading up to, that it'll be addressed, but the bizarre thing is we have no information on whatever happened in between, leading us to a great disconnect from our protagonist in the second half. Is all that he's learned during this metaphorically exiled period is to be strict, reserve body movements to the bare minimum, to defuse bombs like puzzles, while not being able to come to terms with the symbolic riddle of his own life? Why did he ever have to separate from Meera? Well, you might be wondering, why am I talking about their disunion first and not their union? Well, like I said, Jab Tak Hai Jaan is a story told straight, but in reverse, somehow, because it makes everything all the more interesting. There is not a strict reason for the disunion of our two lead characters. The separation feels forced, unlike the very natural and convincing departure of Veer from the life of Zara in Chopra's previous directorial. Their coming together feels more natural, though with its own faults still. I like a bit of danger in a man is what Meera says to Summer when he questions her about not liking Indian men. And what exactly does she mean by this reference really has nothing to do with the race of the man standing next to her. What's weird in this is the fact that it might have been either bad writing or bad justification on the part of Meera's character to hide her racism. So what really is it? It can't really be told. There's a suggestion here that by taking Meera to the London Underground, Summer opens up Meera by showing her a number of suitors, of all races, of all kinds, and from various backgrounds of life. And once she is done with making her choice, she actually prefers Summer. She chooses to be with an Indian man, the very kind of man she wished to be away from all her life. This is significant because it echoes the old epic convention trope of rebelling against prophecy, leading to the sealing of your very fate. And besides that, the kind of freedom that Summer allots to Meera not only shows her how he is much beyond danger, to the extent of being completely reckless, but how much is he ready to sacrifice just for a glimpse of her attention, of her eyes, of her love. While the London Underground sequence is rather interesting, it falls through in delivering its message because of how distracting the Ishq dance prologue is. It's a lengthy, badly directed dance sequence which at its heart has so much potential but completely fails to show any kind of intensity between these two individuals because of how shallow it all comes across. For some reason, I could not adjust to the idea of Meera not finding it dangerous enough to be at such a shady place at such an hour already. How in the world is she not afraid for her life? Isn't she someone who's been raised in a big house with security and complete safety? Well, perhaps the complete change of things attracts her to the danger. Perhaps she wants that danger, just in the same way that she now wants Summer, the kind of man who would have been repulsive to her.